Good evening, Dolphin fans. Welcome to the Defense Talk Sports Network news desk. We have a developing story that came up today. The Miami Dolphins could be closing in on a new head coach. Let's bring in the crew. We got Finn Stanza, Brett Lagasse, and of course, myself, Bobby Finstock. Gentlemen, we are almost at the finish line, apparently. The Dolphins could be looking to hire Defensive Coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, Jeff Hafley. He's the front runner for the head coaching job. We're going to get into it. He could be hired by end of day tomorrow. They got 3 interviews tomorrow. We got one with Patrick Graham, Calvin Shepard, and then, of course, Jeff Hafley. That will be his second interview. There's no other real second interviews going on. They did interview Joe Brady today virtually. But yeah, no other second interviews but Jeff Hafley, and he has a scheduled second person interview with the Tennessee Titans on Tuesday. So more than likely, if Miami wants him, they got to get a deal done. So, Evan, I'll start with you, my man. First off, how was your Sunday? Second off, what are your thoughts on Jeff Hafley possibly being the new head coach of the Miami Dolphins?
How was my Sunday? My Sunday is always entertaining because I got to wake up and listen to John Eric Sullivan's little interview. What a pleasure to actually hear from a general manager who actually knows what they're saying and actually knows, actually expresses themselves and actually shows up and talks to the fans and actually has a one-on-one interview. I couldn't remember a general manager in our lifetime that did that. That was quite a pleasure. And as a special present to my buddy DSG in the comments, watch DSG, look carefully. Look what's behind me. The elite mid running back, his jersey arrived yesterday.
It was elite mid.
I was very excited for that. Very excited for the jersey. It fits very nicely. I plan on wearing it at fan club weekend next year because there's actually a reason to go to fan club weekend next year, right, Bobby? There's actually a good reason.
He gets traded. That's gonna be.
No, had a great Sunday. I got to see Tua play in a playoff game this afternoon. That was really exciting. CJ Stroud became his own version of Tua Tagovailoa.
I was say that was Stroud.
That was awful. Honestly, that was absolutely awful to follow that. To throw 4 interceptions the way he did today. That was pretty insane. Now I'm watching in the corner of my eye. We're watching a really intense cold weather game. Cold weather games. That's actually ironically, Bobby. One thing that stood out to me, from me, and I want you guys to obviously give your feedback, was when he talked about the fact right away about the cold weather situations, about becoming big and small, speed and becoming slow, etc. Which is like the Dolphins, the game would be over in both of these games in the first minute. So that was really, really good to see. But no, my initial reaction to this, honestly, it's bringing me back faster to the bandwagon, Bobby and Brett, than I ever have been, because I've never seen a fan base so miserable in my life that they're forcing me and naturally making me become a bigger proponent and defender of the Miami Dolphins. Because when the season started,
homer again.
Season started.
I sound like a homer all of a sudden. People are like, Brett, being logical and positive.
Season started. What was our goal? Tua gone, Greer gone, McDaniel gone. All of us had different reasons for each one. All 3 are coming true. Everything came true a week ago with McDaniel gone. They do the interviews, guys, the last 2 weeks. They hire the guy everyone wanted. Then all of a sudden, we start interviewing guys. It had to be Harbaugh. It had to be Stefanski. It has to be McCarthy. It has to be a veteran. Which, yes, we want a veteran head coach, guys. We want a veteran head coach. But if we're realistic, this is a situation, guys.
Coach.
This is a situation where we're not the top job of the ones available. Because we don't have a quarterback. We have cap issues. Yes, we have probably a longer leash than most of the coaching opportunities because we have a loyalty. But at the same time, we're interviewing guys who are getting interviews with a lot of other people. Now, if the leader in the clubhouse was Calvin Shepard or Patrick Graham, let's have a fight. Jeff Hafley is getting interviews with 6 other teams. There's a reason why. If you go go look at his background, the tree, and I know I listened. Brett wrote me this long diatribe this morning for 6 minutes that I listened to, and the connections he has in the NFL. To go to Boston College, to win with it, go to 3 bowl games during the NIL, has a better record there than Bill O'Brien, who had 4 winning records with the Texans. For me, Jeff Hafley, is he a sexy hire? No, but the sexy hire was Mike McDaniel, the nerd, the genius, the play designer. Oh, the guy, it became the cool cat where his pants didn't reach his ankles. But now we get rid of him. What, you want the second coming of Mike McDaniel because of his hairdo? Because of his hair. People are so ridiculous that they're looking at his hair as the reason why they don't like him, guys. The guy took a defense that was 24th in the league and put him to 5th. He's developed well in a system that works well and has been in a lot of places, has over 20-something, over almost 20 years plus years of experience in the NFL with success wherever he's gone. So for me, if this is who John Eric Sullivan wants, then this is what John Eric Sullivan gets. And also, Troy Aikman's there, Steve Ross. If Steve Ross really had a say, it wouldn't be Jeff Hafley. The fact that he's letting the football people make this decision is the right way to go. So for me, Jeff Hafley's a coach. I'll be happy. If they decide to go with Joe Brady, I'll be happy. If they decide to go with Kubiak, I'll be happy. Why? It's a new dawn and it's a new day. And I know you're going to pass it on to Brett. Brett, I'm going to show you my T-shirt because this is exactly you. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just explaining why I'm right. So Brett, that's on you because this T-shirt is perfectly for you. You're not arguing with the people on Twitter. You're just trying to explain to them and me and Bobby why you're right.
That's all I'm doing. That's awesome.
No, it's a good day in Dolphins land. I don't understand. You guys go. Yeah. It's such a misery. This Dolphins Twitter has become disgusting. It's disgusting.
It is. Yeah. It's a little wild.
Yeah.
So these two stepped down from being miserable, and they've elevated everybody else. Now they're the ones going, what's wrong with you haters? Come on, guys.
I mean, it's kind of like, calm down, guys. We're freaking out over stuff you don't even know about. Like, we can 100%. Only go by what we can read. I did a whole thread on Twitter. Check it out. It's about Hafley and his connections. It's 6 sections of tweets and where he started coaching it all. Like, honestly, Bob, I don't hate the idea of Hafley, and the fact that the Steelers are coveting him highly says something. You know, and this is going to excite a lot of Dolphin fans. You guys know he coached under Dave Wannstedt at Pittsburgh early in his career. No, but he, you know, you guys don't know. I don't know if you guys don't know. He was a wide receiver in college, and then he started at D3, got to Pittsburgh under Wannstedt, moved up, went to Rutgers, Schiano, followed Schiano to the NFL with Tampa Bay. Was assistant defensive backs coach, then was defensive backs coach. Then went to Cleveland with the Shanahan tree with Pettin on defense under Pettin. Shanahan tree was there in offense. And then he went to after that, where did he go after that? Hang on, I have it in front of me.
After where?
After the Browns, he went to the 49ers.
49ers. Yeah. Then he then he had Ohio State.
Yeah, he was one of the years at 49ers with Chip Kelly. And then he went over to then he stayed there with Kyle Shanahan, took over because he knew them from Cleveland. And they kept him there. He stayed there for 2 years, went to Ohio State as a co-defensive coordinator under Greg Madison, and then went to Boston College as the head coach for 4 years.
And he did well there, guys. He did well for
it wasn't anything crazy, but like he kind of turned it around.
3 bowl games. 3 bowl games is nothing to sniff at. In the NIL, where you don't get Boston College can't compete with the other schools. They cannot.
And one of the years was COVID. They decided not to play. And then he was with the Packers for the last 2 years. And the thing is, he's tied to the Shanahan tree with Green Bay, LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan in Cleveland, Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco, right? So he's tied to that tree. Very good chance he goes with those guys offensively. You know, so offensive coordinator-wise, I have no doubt. And then he had Frank Cignetti Jr. as his offensive coordinator at Boston College, who's been an offensive coordinator, quarterback coach in the NFL for a long time with the Rams and Titans. A little scary part there is under Jeff Fisher, but I don't think he'd be the full-time offensive coordinator. Greg Madison, who was a defensive line coach of the Ravens under John Harbaugh for first 3 years he was there, then was with Michigan for a long time under Jim Harbaugh, and then was at Ohio State for a year with him. So, like, the guys, and Mike Pettin, he's learned from Saleh and Ryans and one of the other defense coordinator. Obviously, Wannstedt, who say what you want to Wannstedt as a head coach, but he's a fantastic defensive coordinator. Dave Wannstedt's a fantastic defensive coordinator. So basically the whole point of my thread was to show there's a lot of connections. A lot of it's most of it is to the Shanahan tree. Now, something for you guys to remember. You remember Matt Applebaum came here as our offensive line coach in 22? People thought he did a good job. The offensive line looked good, all that stuff. And then he left. Well, now he left to go to Boston College. So Hafley, who might become our future head coach, is the one who stole him in the first place. So how's that for a connection to Miami? But he's also connected to the Hardballs because of Madison. And just to think about that for a second, that people wanted Jim Harbaugh, or John Harbaugh rather, and Hafley coached with Madison for a year at Ohio State, who's one of the Harbaugh defensive guys that coached with him. So it's like, and Hafley brings that. And the one thing I love about Hafley, I love that Sullivan talked about defensive backs being big and fast, not just, fast. Talking about receivers being big and fast. And that's what he focused on the most. And then when he said control the line of scrimmage, he's not talking about defensive line, offensive line. He's talking about pass rush and pass protection. That's what he's talking about. He ain't talking about the rest. So and I love that. And then when you look at Jeff Hafley, his defenses have always been physical at wide receiver or at a corner. They're big, long corners like Rasul Douglas. So it's like guys like that. That's what he likes. So, and that's what going back to Xavier Howard days, right? So that excites me. And then the physical defense and the attacking defense again, that excites me. The other side that I'd like, I think the fact that he's tied to the Shanahan tree so much. The Shanahan tree worked very well in Green Bay. Sullivan knows that. It's that style that they want to run, that Sullivan's probably going to draft anyway. So it's probably going to go that route. And one of the Slowick brothers who comes from the Shanahan tree that's on the roster, it could all work out. He could be the OC. So
which one? Because Bobby's actually getting an interview with the Eagles,
Bobby will be the one that would get hired. But I'm just saying that's just an example. You still got Nathaniel Hackett who could be poached. You got you got the one kid that everybody's hyping up for head coach with the Rams. You bring him over as your offensive coordinator. So.
Or Nate Shieldhouse, that guy.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, there's lots of options, a lot of options, and who he's been connected to, whether it works or not, I don't know. But I know that the GM took over. He wants to set something in place, and he talked about how Ron Wolf set it in place, and it just kept growing where they develop their guys and bring them up through the ranks, doing the same thing. And he talked about he wants that after he leaves, and then he's going after a coach that is known to fit what they do defensively and who's tied to what they do offensively with different areas he's been. It's like it just feels like they're trying to do things the right way. Will it work? I don't know, but at least they're going about it, not hodgepodging it. Because like Kellen Moore and Mike McDaniel, two different kind of guys. They just kind of went after it, So it's like, for me, and then Adam Gase and Joe Philbin, going from Sperano to Philbin to Gase, it's just another, and Flores and then McDaniel, it was just kept changing. Where at least they're going in that every coach they've talked to fits the same mold. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it. I'm just liking the process that they're doing. I've been happy with it.
So yeah, I'm going to say that's one of the things that really sold me on whoever the next coach is going to be, and that more than likely will be Jeff Hafley, because I've been adamant that I would want a veteran head coach. However, that would be more so if Chris Grier was the general manager. If he was still the general manager, I would want a veteran coach. But because it's a new general manager, then a new first-time head coach, and I know that's a bad word because it is a bad word for me too. I'm cautiously optimistic, but because it's a new GM, a new head coach makes sense because they're both coming in at the same time. They both have the same philosophies. The new general manager is getting the highest coach. How many of us have said, let the new GM hire his coach? Mm-hmm. How many times have Dolphin fans say that? And the same Dolphin fans who've said that seem to be the same ones complaining that he's going to hire Jeff Hafley, who he is familiar with, who's not just a lazy take out there that I will say, and I forget me, whoever's watching this,
I know it's coming. I know it's coming.
Joe Philbin 2.0. Like, that is the laziest take I mean, try something new. It's worse than the haircut. Listen, again, this is Dolphin fan. Like, Evan's surprised that they're bringing up the haircut, but Evan was there. We were there 3 to 4 years ago when McDaniel was brought up, and you got this picture with his hair, and he looks like an IT nerd. And everybody, I really want that guy to be my coach, man. He's cool, right? Because of a picture. No one else interviewed him. No one else.
Andy Reid.
Dolphin fans, majority don't want him because of his haircut, because he looks like G.I. Joe or the Highway Patrol, the Florida Highway Patrol. They don't want it because of his haircut, but yet the whole league is interviewing him. Yeah. The Titans are trying to get an interview with him on Tuesday, which Miami more. So it's like, I wish, like, legitimately they like I can understand. Go, man, I just don't want a first-time head coach. I get it. That's a different conversation. I'm on that boat, but because it's a new GM and he's going to bring in his guy, and he knows Jeff Hafley, and Hafley's not a Green Bay guy. He's there for 1 year, 2 years, I don't know, 2 seasons, I think. But again, he was with San Francisco multiple years. He was in Cleveland. He actually coached. Brett brought up Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel. They were all on the same staff. He's been around. I would have fired him for not getting a haircut. Yeah. But when you listen to him, like, go back.
Barber in the Northeast.
Go back and listen to Jeff Hafley. Go listen to his interviews. Go listen to his press conferences. How he talks to the press. How he talks to players. How he talks about the game of football. That dude's a legitimate football coach. Guess what?
Mm-hmm. He's a teacher.
We don't get paid the big bucks to make the decisions here. We have our own opinions. But if the whole league is trying to get an interview with this guy, and he's interviewing 6 and 7 jobs, maybe they know something we don't. Maybe we should sit back and let it play out. And
I'll tell you what.
Sorry, go ahead, Brett.
Before you go, guys, both are educated. His parents are educators. His family has, like, he's a teacher. Mm-hmm. This team needs a teacher who is a culture setter. Doesn't this guy look like a guy? By the way, G.I. Joe, before you go, Jeff, Brett, isn't that what we've been asking for? A guy to actually set the tone for the franchise? Like,
well, that's the look. That's not. We don't know who he is.
No, not the look. How he is, but just his experience. If you go read about it, when you went to find McDaniel,
I know. But let me tell you where you have a vision of where this team is going. You guys already said it. What sells me on this coaching hire? Whoever it's going to be, more than likely Jeff Hafley. No, Sully. What you heard today, his vision of a football team. Listen, we'll see how it plays out. But he was saying all the right things. The trenches, big and tall, big bodied. You can get slow, but you can't get small.
And he's not talking about drafting guys early for offensive line either. He's talking about drafting BPA, and he's kind of like said, like, me today. In mind.
I was listening to his interview. I was listening to his thing, and I kind of giggled, and she went, "What's up with you?" I go, "I don't know. He's saying all the right things, Mom. He tickle my pickle." And she's questioning me now. It got me excited, brother. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to run through the wall.
So is it cold in here?
It's a little cold in here, brother. I'm like, tickle the pickle. Like, he was saying, but that's what gets me hyped up about what's coming with this team. Like, and it's true. Yeah. Somebody said in the comments, he brought up the quarterback, the most important. She's back. She heard it. So anything that has to do with tickle pickles, she's right back in it, brother.
Tickle pickles.
Oh no,
tickle the pickle. You don't know what that means?
Yeah, I do. I know what it means.
You're probably tickle the bacon or something. Cracking the bacon.
No, tickle the bacon with maple syrup.
Damn. No, but I'm just gonna say
bacon and maple syrup.
Like, I wish Dolphin fans, when they see that and they listen to the general manager, that's what the vision. And one thing I really like took to heart, that I could say, man, this guy's serious. When he says, I want to instill something that when I'm gone, it's still here. That people are like, we got to continue the way that was done. Like, he's going to build a foundation. And talking about building the trenches, offense, defense, going outwards. It starts with the quarterback. He says, starts with the quarterback. And that's where I was like, bam, right there. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a very interesting offseason. And again, this guy was not my first choice at the start of this. But as the process went along, and I see where everyone else is going around the league, other teams, and I'm hearing other fans, and I'm looking at his history and everything, I see who he's worked with. I'm like, this guy is intriguing, man. And you know what I love about it? It's not about just him. That's what's important. Go ahead, Brett.
No, what I was saying, like, if you were to take Hafley and put him on the Rams, if he was a Rams DC, where he's still tied to the Shanahan tree or whatever, then all of a sudden it'd be like, oh, they'd be excited about it. Oh, it's the Rams DC. Everybody wants Chris Shula, and I understand why. How great would it be? But I'm just saying, like, that's where people are like, they had their mind made up on Harbaugh, and when Harbaugh like never made sense, and then Miami really didn't push for it, it was just kind of like just kicking the tires. Yeah, it never made sense for either side. Like, the Giants are set up a little bit better than us right now. They have more money. They have like a young roster, young core. Whereas
bad
Miami,
GM.
Yeah, and he comes from Chris.
Did you notice? See that, Brett? Though that Harbaugh's not reporting to Schoen.
Yeah, he's reporting to the owner.
Schoen will not. So, I bet you Schoen does not make it halfway through the season.
No. But the point I make, like, everybody had their false hopes for one guy. And the reality is the fact that they even went to look at these GMs and they're like, we got to get rid of McDaniel. I guarantee you the top guy they wanted was Sullivan. And I've had Sullivan. I actually found a notebook that I had wrote last year. We were talking about GMs that I had Sullivan's name in from the list of like potential GMs. And Sullivan has been up there for a while. So from what I understand, when they hired Gutekunst in Green Bay, it came down to splitting hairs for those two. Like, it was tough. And just when he's talking about, like, I want to leave something here like Ron Wolf did in Green Bay. And he's talking about Ron Wolf, who he worked with a little bit at the end of his career, but he's talking a precursor to him. So it's just freaking awesome. And then he's talking about the Green Bay way of doing things like 30 plus years ago. I don't know, a lot of people caught that when he was talking and people like heard, or when he was talking about like 30 years ago, then he like correct himself like 22 years. Like, I was brought up like, 30 years ago, but he's talking about the way we did things in Green Bay. He was so ingrained in Green Bay. He's talking about the way we did things before he was even there, which is great because it's how many times have I told you guys, like, the Ravens are a greatly run organization, like the Steelers, they find their guys, they know what fits. If that player does not fall into what fits for them, that player's taken off their draft board, their free agency, all of it. It has to be their way of doing it. How many times have you heard one of those guys say, doesn't this guy just feel like a Steeler? Doesn't this guy just feel like a Raven? This feels like a Patriot player. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we didn't have an identity. Now I think we will. And if you look at the coaches that they've brought in, Jesse Minter, Chris Shula, Robert Saleh, Jeff Hafley, Kevin Stefanski, all guys who are running a little bit tighter of a ship, a little bit more balanced on offense, not as gimmicky guys, or they run they're detail oriented on their side of the ball. You know what I mean? So it's like he's bringing in guys that just know what he does. One of the interviews he's doing with Patrick Graham isn't just a Rooney Rule one. Patrick Graham coached for them before he was our defensive coordinator, and he has ties to them. And he very well could make it as our defensive coordinator. You know what I mean? He could end up being our defensive coordinator.
I'll just say, shout out first off, God of Thunder in the house, DSG, of course. Matthew Blue says, I don't care who they hire. I don't trust anyone running this team, not until they show me otherwise. Fair enough.
Get that.
I get it.
I'll never argue
understand
that.
it. Well,
I'll never argue with that either.
Because I don't get any of the positive. I'm not saying it's going to be good. I'm not saying it definitely are.
No, 100%. No. But what more? It's a problem with people just saying, oh, this is going to suck. Look at this haircut. Oh, it's going to suck. I wanted Harbaugh. The Harbaugh said no. No, I actually appreciate that the Dolphins, because if this was old Ross, he would have gone to farm on John Harbaugh. He would have plugged us along. Then he would have lost out on Harbaugh, and then we would have had to settle for. And I'm not hating on a Patrick Graham or a Shepard or whatever. And trust me, I believe Shepard's going to be a great coach, a good coach one day. I think he has a future.
I think so.
I really do. But not yet. That's why I said one day, Evan. You don't have to finish the sentence. I said one day.
But brother, we finish each other's sentences. Come on.
But I will say, first off, shout out to Brett, 6595. What's up, my brother? Fins up. AJ in there too. Everybody's still shell shocked from Chris Greer. It is, and I get it. But listen, if this was old school Dolphins, they would have went all in on John Harbaugh, just like the Dolphin fans did. Mostly community. They all posted pictures of him in his Dolphins attire and everything else. And now they're all disappointed because Miami never really chased him. They called him. They did their due diligence. Hey, would you be interested? We're going to hire this guy as our GM. They weren't going to let him dictate that. The Giants did. The Giants were desperate, which is fine. You do that. If you get a John Harbaugh, you could do that. But Miami wasn't playing that game. They were doing it right. They casted a wide net. If Harbaugh would have said, yeah, I would like to meet with you and Sully, the Dolphins would have welcomed that. And Harbaugh can't fire Sully. He wants full control. Fine, give it to him. But Miami wasn't doing that. Stephen Ross, from the get-go, after he fired Chris Greer, which a lot of people said wasn't going to happen, after he did that, he showed he was done being the same guy. He fired Greer, okayed to bench Tua. Then, whenever we all waited, we were like, man, is he going to fire McDaniel? We all thought, oh, McDaniel's going to stay. But Evan and I both said it. No press release. There is no press release. And then finally, he's talking with Darren Waller. I want you back next season, buddy. Let's go hang out. Ross came in and goes, I need you out of the door. 20 minutes later, he's gone. Gone.
He did him dirty.
And it had nothing to do. It had nothing to do with John Harbaugh. It had everything to do with the GM saying, hey, man, I think Sully probably said, I could work with McDaniel, but I know some coaches that I would prefer. And Ross said, let me do it. I'll be the one to do it because I love McDaniel. You know, it's like killing Old Yeller. Like I said, Evan, the other day, it's like killing Old Yeller. He needed to kill Old Yeller. So he did it. What I'm saying is what you can be happy about. It's not the same old Dolphins. They casted a wide net. Now you're going to have a coach and a GM. This is a clean slate with the same vision.
Yep.
Doesn't mean it's going to work. No one's saying it's going to work. But when you hear everything they're saying, you see everything that's going on. If this is the case, whoever he hires, he could go with Chris Shula. He could go with Clint Kubiak. More likely it's Jeff Hafley. That's the report coming in. If it's Jeff Hafley, Dolphin fans, this is the first time we're really having a clean slate. And this is the first time you could probably say, okay, at least we have a front office and a coaching staff that's going to come into place that they're all on the same page. There will be no, Sully wanted Reuben Bain and coach wanted Ty Simpson, let's just say at 11, right? And we drafted some other guy, and Ross wanted this guy. No, they all wanted that one guy. He fit their plan. They got him. They're going around 2. So this is same old Dolphins. It's been owner. Give it time. Give it time. It's not the same old Dolphins because it's a new GM. It's a new coach. It's a new whole regime. It's not the same old Dolphins. That's wrong, Raphael. That's wrong. Well, it's not the same old Dolphins.
Yeah, the thing is, like Ross, he talked to the GMs, and it's kind of like, I guarantee you, it was like, hey, I think McDaniel's a bright guy. I think he's got a bright future, but I want to start fresh with my guy. I don't want to get in here and be like, this ain't working, and then have to get my guy from the beginning. And sure, I mean, could it be one of them things where it's like he gets like the Texans went through 2 coaches before they finally got Ryans or whatever? I doubt they're going to do anything like that because he comes from stability. They wanted to go with stability. And the thing is, like, you got to give it time to develop and grow and get the coaches that you want, the players you want, and all that. So the whole thing with how you should look at it is, if he's bringing in Hafley, more likely there's a plan that they already know of ideas of who they want as offensive coordinator, who they're going to bring as defensive coordinator. And if you hear what Sullivan said, he hinted that, he gets to make the decision. He makes the decision, the final decision. So, because if not, what's the point? You can't have everybody
as in the draft process. In the draft process. Yeah, where it used to be open-ended.
Personnel.
Yeah.
Listen, so Greer was yes man.
Let me just say very quick. I want to say this very quick. AJ says the problem is this is not a great job. This is an organization that has not won a playoff game in 25 years. We're in cap hell and we have no. Sure. Yes, that's right. But there's only 32 jobs. And I'm going to tell you this. There's only 32 jobs in this league. There's, I think, I don't know how many jobs for GM was open. Sully, John Eric Sullivan, was one of the sought-after guys as a general manager. He chose Miami. Miami said they'd like to hire him. He decided, I'm going to the Dolphins. There's only 32 head coaching jobs. Only 6 were open. Everybody wants to interview or be a finalist with Jeff Hafley. More than likely, he'll be our coach tomorrow. So, yes, this hasn't been a great a great thing with Miami. The Dolphins are not on paper, according to fans and some around the league, it's not a great job. But they still got John Eric Sullivan. They may still get Jeff Hafley, and there's a lot of good coaches that have interviewed with Miami that want that job. So there you go.
I disagree.
Weaver's job in jeopardy.
I think they're going to be.
I disagree.
Yeah, Weaver's job will be in jeopardy.
No, he's gone. He's gone.
Hold on. I was going to answer before you said I disagree. Hold on. Is Anthony Weaver's job in jeopardy? Everyone's job is in jeopardy. I will say this, Brett, in the comments. Anthony Weaver did work with Jeff Hafley on the Browns. He was the defensive line coach, and Hafley was the defensive back coach. So there is a relationship there. So if he doesn't get a head coaching job, or he doesn't go to the Giants, which probably he will, I think there might be a conversation between the two of them for continuity and succession or whatever.
What I think could happen, he could get moved to assistant head coach, right? And then they bring in a different defensive coordinator. Who knows? That's just one option they can go with.
Possibly. But Evan, you said you disagree.
I disagree with the fact that this is a bad job. Why? People are talking about first-time head coaches. More than 3/4 of the coaches that started in these last games this past weekend were first-time head coaches. The majority are first-time head coaches. Vrabel and which other one? There was one other one. Vrabel and Peyton were the only two I think that were not first-time head coaches. Look at what's happened in Denver. I understand they had to go find their quarterback. Sean Payton had to develop it, but they were in cap hell for the last 2 years, and then the number 1 seed. They Gerard Mayo, yes, they got Drake May, but the second year struggles. Look at Buffalo. Buffalo, as much as people want to praise Buffalo Buffalo can't get over the hump. They still can't build a proper roster, Bradley Bean. They literally they were relying on Dalton Kincaid yesterday and Knox, no wide receivers to catch a football. They're relying on Brandon Cooks, who's been bounced from every single team in the NFL. I think he's played for 31 of the 32 teams. It's ridiculous. So every team, we want consistent winning. If you get the right coach, the right thing, if someone tells you tomorrow that he drafts well, we have 5 picks
Caleb Williams
in the first 3 rounds. You have Achane, you have Waddle, you have Paul, you have Brooks. Maybe Rasul Douglas wants to re-sign, all that. If you hit on the right draft picks, and let's say you get a bridge quarterback, or you're willing to get Malik Willis because the relationship he has with Green Bay, and then you go draft a Drew Alar, or you go draft a Chambliss, all of a sudden, you have one decent year where you're competing. The NFL is a fickle league where you look this year that this is going to be one of the weirdest Super Bowls ever. No one thinks that the 4 teams that are left, maybe the Rams, but not even the Rams, everyone else, no one expected. So, oh my God.
Bears just scored a touchdown.
That's what I said. Caleb Williams did it again.
Wide open.
So are people that are high
I had the Bears
Shula
winning. I did have the Bears winning.
I know. I have the.
Are people from Shula now going to get upset about that touchdown and at the last second?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now they don't want Shula. Now that Shula just gave
that's
up.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves.
That was so annoying. It's like,
that's one of my biggest pet peeve. I was like, oh, look what his defense did that one game, bro. And look at it. It's like, this is bigger than that, right? This is and I will say,
meanwhile, he was missing 3 or 4 starters on that defense.
Any job in the NFL is a difficult job. But I said this on Friday night, Brett, and I want you to attend to this. I know you have to have a good head coach. But it didn't matter who the head coach was for the Miami Dolphins. As long as the quarterback was wrong and the fundamental foundation of the way you build a team is wrong, you could have had Andy Reid on the sideline, John Harbaugh on the sideline, Don Shula on the sideline. If Chris Greer is your general manager, bringing in the talent, and Stephen Ross is your owner, the way he's been behaving the last 6 years, you're not successful. Sorry?
Could have gone with any living coach. Why'd you say Don Shula? Don Shula's gone, bro. You went Andy Reid, John Harbaugh, and Don Shula. We should
hire Chris Shula. Guys, we want to hire Chris Shula, not for his talent with the Rams. It's because he's a Shula. They think they're going to bring the aura of the Shulas back.
I know, from a steakhouse guy owner.
By the way, Mike Shula, by the way, is it Mike Shula's dad? Mike Shula wasn't a good coach. Was an okay coach. Couldn't make it in the NFL as a head coach.
Is that Mike or Heath's son? I don't remember.
I can't remember.
I think it was Mike. I think it was Mike.
Mike, I think. But all to say,
but that doesn't matter. No,
my point is that for me, the key cog in this is the general manager working to build his team. And the advantage of Hafley and the job here is that he'll have a bit of a longer leash because of his connections in the league and being a coordinator in multiple places and a head coach in college, his breadth of connections to build a staff is significantly more than Flores, who couldn't build a staff to save his life and was in the same spot for 15 years, and McDaniel, who rode the coattails of the Shanahan tree. Hafley has gone to multiple places and built connections with everybody else. Of all the coaches that they have left, he's the most connected. Stop complaining, Dolphin fans.
Him and Kubiak probably have the most ties to like different staffs and different things. So that's kind of what I like too with Kubiak. But
that's why Kubiak was there. And I will say, for me, Shula had nothing to do with the last name.
People are wanting.
I know that. I understand that. It's the same thing as a haircut. It's the last name. It's the haircut. It's like, come on, dude. For me, it was about what he has done with the Rams, with his connections, and that he grew up in this league, that he grew up, with his dad as a coach, his uncle. I mean, and obviously his grandfather, but he has a lot of connections around the league, and he has a lot of from a learning sheet. Same thing as Clint Kubiak, but looks like it's going Jeff Hafley. We're going into overtime for Chicago. Chicago is on fire right now. I picked Chicago. Evan picked the Rams last night, so we're going to see who remains undefeated
Friday night.
I picked the Rams.
Whatever.
But I don't know. But
I'm going to go for 2 today because
let me ask you this, and shout out to Coach Vogel who's watching, and Josh Wingate should be back, and I know he texted us about the draft show, the next draft show, so we will get into that. But I want to ask Brett, you see what you've been following Green Bay and the way they've done things for years. Where do you stand, like, for Dolphin fans, so they can expect it in your mind? A lot of fans have other opinions of where the team should go with that first pick, but with John Eric Sullivan now as the GM, possibly Jeff Hafley as the head coach, where do you think Miami could go in the draft with the first pick? Is it BPA, or do you think they go a specific position?
No, it's BPA, but I did this. I have this written down still. Since I went all the way to 2003 when John Eric Sullivan started there. If you go back further, it's the same trend. Green Bay drafted corner. This is what they did. It was a linebacker, corner, quarterback, linebacker. Aaron Rodgers was a quarterback. This is the first pick of each draft. D tackle. And then 2008, they didn't have a first-round pick, but the first pick of the draft was Jordy Nelson. And then it was 2009, B.J. Raji, D tackle. 2009, also Clay Matthews, so pass rusher. 2010, offensive tackle, Brian Balaga. Then Derek Sherrod the next year. Safety, Nick Perry, 12. Dayton Jones, DN, pass rusher, 2013. 14, DB. 15, safety. The point I'm making here is I had counted of all these drafts as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 of the drafts were a premium position. Defensive back, pass rusher, wide receiver, quarterback, right? And since he's been there, they drafted their franchise quarterback twice, Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love, in the bottom of the first. They've hit on a lot of these picks. Balaga, Sherrod was a miss. Dayton Jones is average. But, like, they've hit on, like, Kenny Clark has been a stud. Kevin King was a miss. Jair Alexander, stud. Rashawn Gary, he's been kind of a miss. Jordan Love's great. Eric Stokes is good. Quay Walker's good. Devontae Wyatt's really good. Luke Van Ness. They've hit on these players. They don't go offensive line very often. When they do, it's offensive tackle. Why? Because pass rush protection. I think that they're going to go BPA. And that BPA very well is likely going to be a wide receiver, corner, or tackle. So I almost guarantee you running back and interior offensive line are going to be ranked really low. And unless that D tackle is athletic and can rush the quarterback, which B.J. Raji was, he didn't turn out to be, but he was pretty decent though. But Kenny Clark was a stud getting after the quarterback and the collapse in the offensive line. So I think, me personally, my gut tells me corners are going to be the first pick.
And by the way,
I really think, because this
I just want to add, but Bobby, because Bobby, you're going to be doing the draft stuff. One interesting stat, which I couldn't believe, which is actually a good thing that the staff did this year, which is actually a good thing for John Eric Sullivan, is he gets to look at tape of over 3,000 snaps that our rookie class took, which was an interesting stat that Wingfield brought up today, that over 3,000 snaps. So to watch, you can actually now, he has so much tape on Zeke Biggers and Grant and Phillips and Marshall and Trader and that group and Gordon. So like the fact that our rookie class from last year actually got a lot of tape and he has 30 free agents. This season actually is a great time for a new general manager to come in, Bobby, and I want your take because there's so much tape on last year's class. So who ended up getting to play, and Quinn Ewers. So because there's so much tape on the 7th round, all the picks we had, that the guy can actually come in and really assess his needs for the draft. Yes, you want to go BPA, but you also know whether or not what you need to do. And I like the fact that he talked about the draft and not going to get mercenaries and building in the culture and building that foundation. Because what have we done the last 3 years? Gone to get mercenaries.
But he also said that fill in the voids in free agency.
Yeah.
Yes. So I will say. So I'm going to say this. I think before he interviewed for this job, obviously he's very familiar with the Miami Dolphins, but before he interviewed for this job, he obviously was watching film on him. And then obviously probably this week he's been going crazy because there were 4 players. I may miss one, but I know that there were 4 players he specifically mentioned when talking about building around these 4 guys.
He forgot Waddle.
Devon Achin, Patrick Paul, Aaron Brewer, Jalen Waddle. Those are 4 guys that he mentioned. So, and then he talked about
Jordan Brooks.
No,
he did say Brooks. I'm sorry, he did say Brooks.
He said the 4 and he forgot Waddle.
No, he
said Waddle. He said Waddle. He said Waddle.
Wingfield had to remind him about Waddle.
Oh, yeah, because
he was remind him about Waddle.
Because he was like, well, I'll start with Waddle, and then he was talking about how Waddle could separate elite at the top of his route. And everybody he talked about, he's trying to sell.
Yeah.
Well, you never know.
You wish, bro. No, I
mean, you never know, though.
Jersey, come on.
He's selling shit.
Yeah,
no, but I believe again, he's already doing the homework. He's not coming to this blind, and he's already at work. He's doing these interviews, but he's already scouting this team, deciding where he's going to go, deciding which players are, hey, these are the guys I want on my team. These are the guys I want to build upon and to branch out and go. And that says a lot for me. That speaks volumes for him. And it's like, which I'm sure all guys, everybody who gets this type of job, they're going, I'm not taking away anything from Chris Greer when he first got the job, but he was already with Miami. Then he got the job and he was already taking everything with him. This guy's coming from he's getting out of his comfort zone in Green Bay, going to Miami, and now he's instilling that here, full steam ahead. And if you can tell he's hardcore into this, and that's why he's hardcore. And whoever's going to be his coach, and that's Jeff Hafley, fans should get on board with it. Corner, I think it is BPA. I think it will be BPA. Whoever's going to be there. There's a few good ones. There's a couple good ones who could be there at number 11 for Miami. You got McCoy out of Tennessee, possibly. I'm the ones missing my head. I doubt
from LSU.
Yeah,
I also
there you go. Yeah.
Caleb Downs could make a lot of sense there.
I was gonna say safety. Caleb Downs could be there, and Miami needs a safety because you don't know what they're gonna do with Fitzpatrick. They didn't mention Fitzpatrick. He didn't mention Fitzpatrick. And even if you kept Fitzpatrick, you need someone on the other side of him. Those other 2 guys, Melifonwu and Davis, those aren't long-term solutions. So Caleb Downs, if Downs is sitting there, that's a BPA move.
I'm just gonna say BPA. The guys he mentioned too that were listed are younger guys that you can build with, and also guys that really don't save you any money by getting rid of this year.
Exactly.
So
true.
I think the rest of them, I think that might have just said, hey, these are the guys that everybody else is going.
I think that's tipping his cap. I think he's kind of letting you know. Yeah, I think exactly. I think he's letting us know, hey, this could be where I'm headed.
That's a fundamental question, and actually it's a Shanahan question because I'm watching the game in the corner of my eye. Why is it that the morons that are from the Shanahan tree think that when it's 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, that the smartest thing to do is to flip the ball backwards 5 yards to give the guy a running start. So you're giving the defense the open space to go make the tackle. I don't understand this nonsense of starting 5 yards back, trying to get 1 yard. So you're trying to get 6. Explain that to me, Brett. What's the mentality of a team that literally runs the ball? Kyle Shanahan does it. McVay does it. McDaniel does it. Like, I don't understand it. Why do they do that?
They didn't have a problem doing it in Denver with Terrell Davis for years. But no, it just depends on what your defense alignment you're facing. You're just trying to spread the defense. You're trying to put them in a tough situation. It's really just. I mean, it's no different than.
I don't like that kind of football. I don't like that kind of football.
Well, you're not the coach,
but
brother.
You're also not going to run. You're also not going to run Matt Stafford up the middle like you do with Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts.
Bring in Jimmy G.
Right.
Bring in Jimmy G.
He's made of glass too.
Let me ask you. Evan, I'll ask you this, and if you don't know, we can pass it off to Brett. But I don't know how much research or anything you've done on Hafley. Yeah. But if you had to give a couple names on coordinators, what are some of those names out there that
I don't have any top of mind.
Yeah.
I just know that whether it was through his connections at Boston College, whether it's through his time at Green Bay, I think he's well enough connected that he will go. I think for him, he in the first year, unless he gets the exact person he wants, he's going to do the defensive play calls, which I don't love, but I'm okay with that if that's what he thinks is the best fit for him. But no, I don't have any specific. All I have a request from is maybe with the exception of Bevel, which I could see him maybe promoting to OC because he does have experience here and has been a capable OC before. I don't want anybody else left here. I actually want a clean slate of the coaching staff. So I don't have any specific names just yet, but I do believe that he is very well connected around this league that he could build the staff. Whether he grabs a few people from Green Bay. I also think that John Eric Sullivan is going to play a role in helping him build his staff. Through his time as scouting, I could see them going to the college rank. I think it's going to be a mix of college and NFL, but I don't see any lateral moves specifically. I see promotions, but I don't see any lateral moves coming from existing jobs. That's one thing I don't see.
Brett, same question. And you got any names that you could throw out there that you might think could be on Miami as an offense, defense coordinator, any type of coach, any coaching roles?
So let me throw this out. Hang on 1 second. Let me bring this up. So he's coached, like I said, he's coached with the Shanahan tree for a while because they kept him in San Francisco after Chip Kelly left. But there was one person he had as his defense coordinator. I don't know if he's going to bring him back as that at Boston College. I want to say he's a defensive senior analyst right now for them. I want to say it's Sullivan. I can't remember.
Well, go ahead.
So
I have guy, but yeah.
I think I could see him bringing in one of the assistants he worked with. I could see like a Mike LaFleur. I could see him bringing him in. I know people aren't going to be excited about that because it didn't really work out the Jets. But I think he could probably be pretty good offensive coordinator if with the right players and all. We'll see. But I can see that happening. Honestly, I see him bringing in anybody from one of the staffs that's available to hire from either that's working in San Fran right now or working with probably Matt LaFleur.
One of San Francisco coordinators, please.
Well, one name I will bring to everybody's attention that might not get people excited, but Aaron Rodgers loved them as Nathaniel Hackett.
Oh God, no.
You guys saw him as a head coach, but as an offensive coordinator,
he didn't do so well with the Jets.
But no, it's the Jets. But no, I think Hackett could come in here. I think he could be fine. He's back with the Packers. The Packers really like him. LaFleur likes him. So that's how I see one of the ways.
I'm going to ask this, and I don't want to go too far.
Jr.
Oh, there you go.
Coordinator too.
I'm going to ask this, and DSG's going to fall off his chair, whatever hell he's sitting in. If it is Nathaniel Hackett and Hafley and Sullivan, and you see that Aaron Rodgers is not going back or he leaving Pittsburgh, could we see Aaron Rodgers in Miami next season?
Not a chance.
I don't see it. I think
not the way you're developing through the draft.
But I'll say for defense, by the way, look out for Jim O'Neill. He's a Lions defensive assistant.
Well, I was gonna. That was my guy. You son of a. Damn it! You shut up. You were done talking.
Or it's funny.
You were done.
Interesting
Damn
enough,
it, Evan Jr.
But Bobby, interesting enough because
we do that a lot though, Bobby.
Well,
you
Bobby,
and
Bobby, you know what I could actually see? What's to say? By the way, what's to say? Because of the experience of the NFC North, that they like Kelvin Shepard, and he gets a promotion to be the defensive coordinator for the Dolphins. I'd be happy.
Isn't he already the defense coordinator now with the Lions?
Yeah, but maybe I don't know.
That's
maybe
a lateral move. That's a lateral.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Happy Evelyn said this twice. Happy Evelyn wants us to acknowledge.
That's what's his name. I forget that guy's name. With the horse.
Notice.
Another.
So they posted the same comment twice, so I'm gonna put that up there.
Greg Madison is another one that he worked for, and that's under the Harbaugh tree.
Still going, huh? Name. Get off Chat GPT, bro. No, I'm just playing.
Oh, damn. The fact that he knew what I was doing. No.
So
there's Caleb Williams.
Jim O'Neill, he was the Browns DC with Hafley in Cleveland. And right now he serves as the defensive assistant in Detroit. So it makes sense that, to get a new job as a DC in Miami, that's an easy connection. And he also served, that was back in 2014. He's also with the 49ers with Hafley as well. Mm-hmm. They were on the same Shanahan staff there.
Was he at Boston College with him?
I don't think he was. I don't know if he was. You could double check that, but I do know they were. So these are some of the names he's worked with, right? He's worked with Anthony Weaver, okay, Jim O'Neill, who we brought up from Detroit, Nathaniel Hackett. Right now, the Browns offensive line coach, who was offensive coordinator, John DeLafeppo, Chip Kelly, who worked with him on the 49ers, who's the OC at UCLA, John Embry, tight ends coach, Anthony Capinelli, but he's the Jacksonville Jaguars DC. This is a name to watch out for. The linebackers coach for Jacksonville, Tim Lucabo. I'm probably butchering his last name. He worked with him in Boston College. Right now, he's the linebackers coach in Jacksonville. He could probably be fit in as defense coordinator for Miami. But yeah, those are some names to look out for. Miami's special teams coach might not be there, so I don't know what this guy's doing. But this is a name that worked with him, who's a famous special teams coach. Brett, you might know how to pronounce him, Rich Basashuya, but I'm gonna butcher his name, dude. You know, I'm probably talking about.
I don't even know how to say it, but yeah, he was the interim Raiders, and they won a playoff game with him. Oh God.
GSG agrees. This is my number one requirement. If the person's last name starts with MC, they are not welcome on the Dolphins. No Mick nothing. No Mick nothing. I don't want to hear what. If you guys mention any coach, if you come across a guy whose last name starts with MC, and by the way, Brett, I want a totally random question for the two of you.
Who's MC?
Daniel, Who's MC? Mick. If we ever bring in a coordinator, anyone on the staff cannot be with Mick. By the way,
so you have issues with somebody saying about haircuts, but nobody from the Niners and nobody would MC the name.
I need a cleanse for 1 year from this moron.
Hey, Bobby, you know what coach he's worked with before? The one he stole from us, Matt Applebaum.
Oh, by the way,
he stole from us too. How
Brad,
funny would that be? Bring it back,
Brad. Do you think? Okay, I'm curious. If I had one question for
that's
John
right. That's right.
By the way, if I had one,
Evans banned McDonald's from his children. That's how much.
By the way, if I had a choice, by the way, I bet you, if I'm John Eric Sullivan, I hope he asked for a different GM office. There's no way I'd want to walk into an office with the same stench of Chris Greer. They better give him a brand new office. And whoever the head coach is, it better not be the same office as McDaniel, because the pheromones in that office between him and Flores, they need to fumigate those places. They need to give him brand new offices. He's in real estate. Give him brand new offices. I don't want any stench of those two anywhere near our new staff. Nowhere near them.
Nathaniel can't hack it. I like that the day.
Yeah. A lot of people don't like Hackett.
Talk about a hairdo. He doesn't have hair.
Yeah. Also, don't forget
Daniel
Mike
Grassley. Good to see you, my man. Chris Schuler's doing a great job against the Bears. Why Hafley? Schuler's doing this crap with the cheapest defense in the league. Biden 46 Jr. Can we get Shula? We want Shula. Hard pass on Shula from DSG. Well, let's see.
Biden still thinks it's 1970. It's
No, but honestly, guys. Honestly, Shula is a good people. Honestly, if you look at Dolphins Twitter, the people who want Shula, they're not even saying they want Shula because of what he's done. They want it because they think it's cool. Just because something is cool. Jeff Hafley, of all the people they're interviewing outside of Stefanski, and by the way, I want to bring this up. If I'm the Falcons right now, if you're the general manager, you have no say. You hired your head coach with Matt Ryan. Basically, the person in the middle is the de facto assistant general manager because it's going to be the Stefanski-Ryan show. Here, we know where the buck stops. It stops with John Eric Sullivan. He even said it today. Who's drafting is all me. Don't take it from anybody else. I'm going to get the opinions, but if we fuck up on a draft, it's on me. Greer always passed the buck, right? So.
What name for? Well, Bobby, what are you doing with the list?
Yes, go ahead.
One name I think we should keep an eye on is Mike Pettin.
Mike who?
Mike Pettin.
Yeah, she's such an asshole.
So,
yeah, well, no, he just retired. He retired. I looked into him. He did retire.
Yeah, I don't know. I could kind of see him coming back for that. But I mean, at the same time, he just was since the head coach. But and don't forget Frank Signetti Jr.
I got a text. I got a message from. Not a message. A tweet. Somebody just said that Mike Patina's DC. The gray area at the gray area. So thank you first off for the follow, and appreciate that. Let me see here.
By the way, where are they doing these interviews? Because I doubt they're doing them in the Dolphins facility tomorrow. They're a little busy. I think it's a little busy near Hard Rock tomorrow, eh?
Yeah.
It must be. I don't think they're going to be doing it at the Dolphins facility tomorrow.
See, some people were talking about Steve Shimko as a possible coach, offense coordinator. I've seen that, but I don't know about that. We'll see. I don't know, but I do think he'll go the direction that he came from, or that Sullivan came from.
Will you be shocked, by the way, Brett? Brett, will you be shocked if it's not Hafley? Who is it? They met with Brady today. Maybe that was a token interview.
If it's not Hafley, like
who is it? Is it Kubiak?
Kubiak will make a ton of sense.
Well, let me ask you this. That's a great question. And I had a follow-up to that.
I have a few of them.
You know, the only second interview that they're doing as of right now is Jeff Hafley. And it makes sense because 5 other teams want to get him in for a second interview. And Tennessee tomorrow, on Tuesday, is going to be one of those teams. And as much as fans in the comments are saying, I don't want Hafley, I want this other guy. He's one of the hottest coaching candidates in the league right now. If you go and you look at all the interviews, he's on every one. He's a finalist for multiple jobs. So, but if it's not Hafley, let's say tomorrow ends with Hafley not getting a deal done, who could give me at least 1 or 2 names that you'd like to see get a second interview for Miami? Brett, starting with you and then Evan.
Oh, I'd love to see Clint Kubiak get a second interview, and I love the fact that they wanted a second interview with Stefanski. So that tells you that they wanted some guys with a little bit more experience. Kubiak would be the youngest one on that list at 38, but sounds crazy. People are going to hate me for it, but how about Robert Saleh? I know a lot of people are going to hate that. If it's not Kubiak, I actually like Saleh because, he was a head coach before. He's openly admitted that if he had his say, he would not have traded Darnold. He would have kept Darnold, got Devonta Smith, and went quarterback the next draft, or see how he worked, but he wouldn't have went that direction. It just shows you that they weren't on the same page. Joe Douglas comes from a good system in Philly, but they definitely weren't on the same page, and in Philly it works that way. So I think him or Jesse Minter, I do like Jesse Minter.
Yeah. By the way, where were you DSG on Friday night?
I agree because Evan and Greg and I all said it. You get the front office right. You get your quarterback. The rest falls in place. You still need a good head coach that hires a good staff. But why did Mike Tomlin all of a sudden fail after so long? And he's still winning seasons. The quarterback situation just started falling apart there. Russell Wilson, the ghost of Aaron Rodgers. Then, of course, they got stuck with, why can't I think of his name? Mason Rudolph again and again and again. It's like quarterback situation matters. Fix that, and it fixes a lot of other things. Fix your player personnel, and that's what matters the most. Like we've had it for years. Yeah, Gase sucked, Philbin sucked, Cameron sucked, but so did the roster. The rosters have been just bad. So fix that, and then the coaching will be a little bit better no matter who we hire.
There you go. The Rams won. DSG, you watched The Rip. Is that the hospital show? My wife's really into it right now. She's really into that one on HBO. We've been into Shrinking on Apple, which is really good. If no one's seen that, Shrinking with Harrison Ford, and The Studio with Seth Rogen. Those are really good shows. Sorry,
a movie or show, but Tasha was watching it, and it was with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, and they were driving. There was a sign that said Hialeah in Miami.
Hialeah.
I told Tasha, I was like, "That's where Bobby's from." I was like, "Evan was scared
based
there."
in Hialeah on Netflix. No, I didn't. Okay, all right. Is that what Tati? Maybe that's what. I know she watches that. Is that the show on
it's like a detective show. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I think she asked me yesterday. She says, "Are you interested in watching this?" And then she told me, and I said, "I don't even know what the hell that is." I don't know.
You got to watch it. Bobby's from your hometown.
Hey, is that my house? No, just playing. It's the movie. Thank you. But anyway, no, I want to say this. I'm with you. I think that's my. If it's not Hafley by tomorrow, I want to see Saleh, Kubiak, and yes, Shula could be in there for second interviews, and I'd be absolutely okay with it. Those are the three guys. I wouldn't hate on anything like in regards of like, oh, you know how everybody's like, I hate this other, but an extra with a big hat, yeah. But Minter's one of the guys I'm kind of like a little, you know what I mean, on
too close to Harbaugh.
Yes, but it's just I don't know. But again, Saleh, I think a second stint as a head coach. I think he's ready to go. I think with a new GM, with that focus, with the plan ahead for Sullivan, I think is great. I'm not worried about what happened to the Jets. Kubiak, again, not just what he's doing in Seattle, what he's done with Sam Darnold, what he's done with that offense, but also again, lineage matters. His father, the connections he has around the league, he has resources to lean on. Evan will say over and over again with a rookie coach, he needs to hire a veteran guy in there so he can lean on him, so he can tell him. Kubiak would have that. Same thing with Shula. I don't give a damn about I mean, obviously I care about the last name, but it would be cool. But I don't give a damn that he's a Shula. I care about what he's done, but I also care about the connections he has around the league and the lineage in regards of his father, his uncle, and everything else. That matters. So if somehow, some way Hafley wasn't the coach by tomorrow night, those three guys get them second interviews and we're golden.
Brett, I can't believe you always thought Matthew Stafford was a mid-quarterback. Jesus Christ, Brett.
Ever thought Matthew Stafford was what?
A mid-quarterback, eh?
Oh, my God.
Williams, by the way, honestly, we all said this. That was the 8th time this year, or 9th time this season where they've done it under 2 minutes. He threw a very bad interception just there. He's still a young quarterback. You get Sean McVay knew you need to get you go get a quarterback who's done well in the league. And you're going to have a better chance to win. But no, honestly, for me, Kubiak is very interesting. What he did last night, what he's done with Sam Darnold, it's been pretty impressive. But if I had to give it an order, I don't mind Hafley, Kubiak, and the guy I'm just gung ho about. I just like the way, and you might say it's because of Josh Allen. You might say it. I just love, if we're going to build this right and we're going to be smart about it, because I always said this, Bobby, that if they're going to go take a chance on a coach to develop them and see what he's made out of, who's been able to be an up and comer, and it's just my opinion, McDaniel would have been the right hire in 2019. He'd probably still be the coach now if he was the coach in 2019. I like Joe Brady.
Anyway, so that was Evan Finstanzi. You catch him probably on overtime whenever they decide to be on.
The person who got me into
Joe Brady is from Miami.
The person who actually got me into reviewing Joe Brady is this bearded gentleman named Brett Lagasse. So don't blame me for investigating and researching the history of Joe Brady, because someone who likes Joe Brady, who's about to explain to me why he likes Joe Brady, is the guy to my right. Brett, why do you like Joe Brady?
Because he's intelligent. He picks up the game fast, and he was only under Peyton for 2 years. Picked up the entire offense, and Peyton actually was developing him. And then he goes to LSU, has that crazy season. Things didn't work out in Carolina, which you see what Darnold's doing now versus what when he was there with Brady. So you got that as a question. But then you see what the offense changed to in Buffalo with him there. And
the hook and ladder yesterday was gorgeous.
Like it's gotten more creative. It's gotten open, and it's more attacking. There's definitely some room to grow. I think he probably will have to grow a little bit. But no, I like Joe Brady though. But it's just because of how intelligent he is under Peyton, how fast he learned the system, and how much success he had. Like, look what he did at LSU. I know he had a stacked roster, but he killed it with them. And then he does really well in Buffalo. But the thing is, like, that's the other side I wanted to bring up with Buffalo real quick, is McDermott's a defensive coach. He's had a couple good years and a couple bad years as a defensive coordinator, but he's a culture guy. He's not exactly like the rah-rah guy, but he's a well-spoken guy. He's a controlled guy, controlled emotions, speaks with does everything with conviction, right? And what he does well is he knows he has a quarterback, and they're an offensive team. There was a girl on TikTok, I wish I could have shared it. She showed a graph, and the Texans had the highest rate of winning through defense. You look at the Bills, they're a complete opposite. It's the offense that wins them games, and it's Josh Allen, right? So they have a defensive head coach. They've gone through multiple offensive coordinators, but they've always had a good offense. Why? They have their quarterback. You fix the quarterback. It don't matter if you have a defensive coach, offensive coach. It doesn't matter. And I get, yeah, we hire Clint Kubiak. The system stays in place. You don't change it, whatever. But, like, you get the right offensive coordinator, and then you kind of stick with that system and stay within the parameters. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to change coordinators after someone gets another job, you get someone who's either done it with them before or someone who runs a similar system. And it's just kind of like smooth transition.
Now, Bobby, I wanted to read this to you before you go because I think it's relevant to what you said. It's because he's only been there for 2 years. Okay? Hafley's only been there for 2 years. How is he his buddy? Because he's been there for 20. I don't know how people get to that. All of a sudden they're BFFs. Someone wrote this. It's probably a lot less of the Eric Sullivan hiring his buddy from Green Bay than the Eric Sullivan giving the Dolphins a huge advantage to hire one of the most sought-after coaches from this cycle.
I saw that.
Hafley was a finalist everywhere he's interviewed. He's gotten a second interview everywhere he has gone. We're getting the first crack at him as a second interview, which is the advantage of John Eric Sullivan, not a detriment. Because I bet you if it wasn't for John Eric Sullivan being who he is and his connection to Green Bay, we probably would lose out on Jeff Hafley versus getting him.
Possibly. And no, you're right, though. I did see that, and it's absolutely true. And I wish I understand having preferences. I have preferences too. But, to just say, oh, this is another dumb Dolphins move. He's hiring his buddy after 2 seasons. That's his buddy? Really? The guy in the front office and a defensive coordinator? No, it's a guy that knows, that's seen him up close and seen that the way he coaches and knows where he's coming from, saying, I would like this guy as my coach. And yes, the Dolphins are getting the first crack, probably because of the connection. But if they said, oh, no, let him go to Tennessee and we'll see, he probably wouldn't leave Tennessee. He probably, any other job that's still with the Browns, whatever, he's a finalist everywhere he's gone, everywhere he's interviewed. Mm-hmm. So fans should sit there and like, you could have your preference or you could have your cautious optimism or whatever and say, I just don't feel it. That's okay. You don't have to do it. We'll see it when we believe it, right? I get that. I'll believe it when I see it too for any of this. I love what I'm hearing, but I'll believe it when I see it. But guys, it's not the Dolphins. It's the league that have all these openings that he's a favorite for. If it's not John Harbaugh or it's Stefanski, Hafley is connected to all these other jobs. So Miami's just moving ahead of the curve. When has the last time we've said that? Guess what? A lot of guys that are bitching and moaning about Jeff Hafley being head coach are probably a lot of the ones who love to hire McDaniel, wanted McDaniel. Nobody else interviewed McDaniel. Only Miami.
Or let Greer cook.
Failure. Yeah, let Greer cook. But
you know what I mean?
F them picks.
Now we got a guy who says no, F them players. I'm keeping the picks.
But by the way, Bobby and Brett, for us, when I've gotten way more involved in analyzing players and looking at their as a fan of the draft, Bobby, this for you and Wingate and for Vogel and then for me and Brett and Greg, this is music to our ears. I see this guy. By the way, he is the first guy I could see 100%. His BPA is not there. He will trade back. This guy will, if he can get 2 first-round picks or 2 second rounders and a late first rounder. Because what's the famous line? It's not who you pick. It's not where you pick. It's who you pick. And a lot of the players who are sitting in the 20s there, like right now, David Bailey, I guarantee you won't get picked until the teens. If you could trade back and get another asset and maybe get picked in the teens, because that's where he was drafted for his projections is in the late teens, early 20s, I'll trade back to go get David Bailey. I don't need to go get him at 11. I might be able to get him at 17. There's going to be a lot of stupid picks, right, at the beginning of the draft. I like his mentality. I like the mindset of draft your players, build the culture. That's the problem with our team is it became the Jalen Ramsey, Tyreek Hill, mentality, all the players they brought in. Like if we look right now, Bobby, before this year, how many players, I think I said this from 2019 or to, I think the Greer era to now, I think maybe before this season, I think what were there like 4 or 5 players left from the draft that he had ever had? I think there was not even a hand. I don't think you can name on one hand the players that were still on the team that he drafted from 2019. The team was completely turned over.
Yeah, absolutely. If he pulls Horrocks and tries to win next year, I'm going to be pissed. Let me ask you this. We need our quarterback next draft. If he pulls Horrocks and tries to win next year, I'm going to be pissed. I think he's going to do whatever he thinks best. I don't see any quarterback going in round 1 other than Mendoza, and that's where Mendoza probably go number 1 to Vegas or to whoever team trades up if Vegas doesn't want him. But I can see him going Alar possibly in round 3 if Alar is still sitting there. I could see them going quarterback in the draft in the 3rd round. You know, again, they're never going to admit to tanking or whatever, but you might see him strip it out and say, hey, this is going to be a long-term build. We're going to draft players. We're going to draft it right. We're going to focus on signing safe free agents. Nobody's going to look to leave. And, I never want any team to tank, and Arch is not a guarantee. Not yet. There's a lot.
Well, Arch is not. Arch is is not what people think he is.
We got to wait and see. But the next year's draft is a lot stronger. Last year's stronger is a lot quarter.
They said this year was going to be strong last year.
I don't know what he's going to do. What Arch is going to do as far as staying or going, because he might make more staying in college than he will.
Exactly.
Like in the NFL.
Yeah, you can't depend on who might come out. This college football is not the same as it was.
He's not his uncles. He is not his uncles.
He's a different. He's more athletic like his father.
No, he is. No, that's one thing that I don't think he's gonna be a backcourt. I want to say, but again, you're not gonna go like, oh, let's tank for him, and then all of a sudden he stays in, and now you're stuck. I'll pass on Hafley. Minter's way better. Hafley likes intangibles and thinks outside the box. Why settle when someone like Minter, who is a defense play call wizard, is better and he's done less with more?
I don't know how he's a defensive play call wizard. I don't know.
Appreciate you watching, Josh.
Fangio's
in your comments.
Fangio's a wizard too, though. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not just Josh, because I've seen a lot of people say that about Minter.
Sure.
But I've watched Minter's defenses, and it's so different than what McDonald did and Fangio did, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not. I haven't seen anything too much that got me too impressed with Minter. He was on the bottom of my thing. I just know he's a fan favorite, but I wasn't really high on him.
I think Minter's an intelligent guy.
Oh, absolutely.
I've heard that.
Again, look at his history, but I haven't seen anything that's jumped out at me going, oh my God, he's the next thing. But again, I know a lot of people who love him, and that's great. And if he was the coach or was going to be the coach, I'd be on board with it. But
I know Campanelli.
I don't know about lax intangibles and all that.
I think Campanelli would be one that would be really, really high up. Oh, yeah, well, maybe not. I don't know. I forgot he was at Georgia. I was trying to remember where he was before he linked up with the Ravens. Because it was like one with John Harbaugh, then when he went Vanderbilt, that's where he went, and then went to Michigan.
He was with Vanderbilt, yeah.
Yeah.
Here in Nashville.
Yep. So I don't know. He's
in Michigan.
Yeah, he's had some.
Well, he has great connections. He could probably get himself a decent staff. For sure.
Yeah.
I think he can. He has enough connection. He can build himself a decent staff.
But looking at it, everywhere he's been, it's just the offenses haven't been great either. The connections he has, the offensive guys, it's just going to be like bringing in a Harbaugh.
No, that's exactly. It's again, but I'll say this too.
The game has passed the Harbaugh brothers by. I'm just saying.
Whether it's Hafley, Minter, Shula, Kubiak, whoever it may be, I think the Dolphins' job is probably the safest job to have because there are little to no expectations for next season, and you're probably gonna have a very long leash, which McDaniel was not afforded. I think we all could agree that when they brought him on, it was like, okay, long-term build is about Tua, blah blah. They brought in Tyreek, they brought in Ramsey and Armstead, and it's like, okay, now they got to go for a Super Bowl, and he didn't have it is what it is. But Hafley or whoever the coach is going to be, more likely it's Hafley tomorrow, we'll have a longer leash. Let me ask you this, guys, very quick. I know Evan's answer, but Brett, what do you think if it's Hafley with Sully, what happens with Tua next season, this offseason?
Tua's gone regardless, because there's a lot of money that they got to open up to, like $30 million over. I saw one of the beat writers saying, Barry Jackson was saying that, like, they get rid of Tua, and then that, like, they make a couple moves, get rid of Tyreek to put them to like $8 million over, but you get rid of Tua, puts you at $30 million over. But like, they got to move on for Tua. I think they're going to move on from him. I think they're going to like take this roster down to the studs, kind of like back in 2019. They're just going to get rid of all the bad contracts. But the ones that like don't really make a difference, they're going to keep. But I think Tua's going to be gone. I think he's going to be one of the first ones traded post 6-1. Then again, it depends on who's going to take that contract. I don't see them cutting them. What I see with Tua is maybe like the old Brock Osweiler and DeShone Kizer trades. Remember those when they kind of like gave them picks to take them, or like we did with Tannehill? That's probably going to happen. Probably going to trade them for basically less picks so we can get rid of the contract. So I can see that definitely happening with the team that's looking for a stopgap. And then I think they'll look. There's going to be some moves, guys who are like on a final year of the rookie contract, they could get traded. Achane's a toss-up where they extend him, but I can see a guy like Brooks getting restructured in Sealer because there's really no movement. They don't save us any money. So I can see them getting either restructured or extended so that way it clears a little space. But that's how
there you go. Evan, we're about to wrap up, man. Any final thoughts?
The only thing I'll say is one thing that did surprise me today is that he didn't mention Sealer. Sealer is a captain on this football team, was the linchpin of your defensive line since Wilkins is gone. So I would not be surprised if he trades Sealer, only because he didn't talk about him. Like, I was very surprised that he didn't bring him into that group, talking about the leader of this defense. He talked about Brooks. He didn't talk about Sealer. So that was a little surprising for me. But overall, I told you guys this. Over my head right now is a jersey I promised I'd buy. It is the first piece of merchandise I have purchased in over 16 months for the Dolphins. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. McDaniel's not here. I don't care what happens next season. I don't care who they hire as head coach. It's not Mike McDaniel. We got a good general manager. We have a foundation that we're building upon. And I could not be more excited for the 2026 offseason of the Miami Dolphins. Nothing is going to rain on my parade.
Oh, okay. There you go. Brett, final thoughts?
I'm just going to let everything run out, run its course. Just let them do the thing, see how it goes, see who the coordinators are, see what moves are made, see how they approach the draft, free agency. I don't expect moves being made, especially everybody knows the money, but like from here on, don't expect any crazy moves to be made. Don't expect free agency. They will add guys to free agency, but it's not going to be huge dollar guys. It's not going to be huge contracts. And they're going to get guys like a 1 to 2 year deal and stuff like that. It's contracts they get out of. It's going to be built through the draft, and then they'll add guys to free agency. And a lot of it's not going to happen until after the draft for free agency.
Yeah, that's right.
Early on. So they've grabbed guys, but the moves, when they have made moves, it's been guys like Julius Peppers, Charles Woodson, Reggie White. Ron Wolf took a shot in the dark of Brett Favre. And then most recently Micah Parsons. When they do, it's for a big-time player that's proven, that is also at a premium position. But, and then also, look, some people are going to get upset, but they're going to – everybody's talking about offensive line and defensive line. They're going to build it, but it's not going to be in the first rounds or early rounds. They're going to draft and develop those guys. You'll see them draft them in the first, second, here and there, but it's not going to be every draft. It's going to be built through the middle of the draft and free agency and all.
First pick in the draft at number 11 is Caleb Lemieux or Francis Mogoa, and you're going to see Brett going, well, I said maybe. No.
But like I said, they
there's some good tackles, though, there. there are some good tackles.
Bobby, I got my jersey before you got your ring.
See them trade down.
I know.
I can see them trading down.
Oh yeah, I can see them trading down. But
don't expect interior defensive line or offensive line early at all.
Guys, you know what's crazy? Crazy stat.
Running back.
Do you know who the Steelers? Do you know who they're inviting McCarthy to come in? But do you know which person is getting the second interview with the Rooneys?
Hafley.
Brian Flores.
There you go. There you go.
By the way, he is going to get ahead. If I had to put money down right now, can you picture this? The guy, after everything, gets it with the Steelers, and he's the coach there for the next 25 years.
Well, and then the Dolphins have the chance to do the funniest thing. They trade Tua and Minka back to Florida.
Yeah.
Tua's going back wherever McDaniel goes.
Just say, man, I appreciate everyone who joined us on this impromptu episode here on FTSN. The report is Jeff Hafley, front runner for the Dolphins head coaching vacancy. He's right now the only coach getting a second interview, which is tomorrow with the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins do have two other interviews going on before that interview, and that is Patrick Graham, and I think he's the DC of the Raiders currently, and Calvin Shepard, DC of the Lions. So that should satisfy the Rooney Rule. So once Hafley is there, they could go ahead and offer him the position. Right now, no other scheduled interviews for other Dolphin candidates at this time, unless Hafley leaves the facility tomorrow. Expectations is he could be the head coach by the end of tomorrow night. If he doesn't, he will be heading on to Nashville on Tuesday to meet up with the Titans. So, like I said, I will reference back to last night on overtime.
Bobby, it was 2 nights ago. We didn't talk last night.
Oh, we didn't talk.
You didn't hold bar last night.
I'm tired as a mother. Anyway,
I was out. I was inebriated Friday night.
I stepped in for you, bro. Anyway,
I appreciate it.
No worries. So, if the news breaks tomorrow, we will be live to discuss it officially with everybody's reaction, all the hate, all the love. So do me a favor. If you're new to the channel, guys, I appreciate you all who jumped in here for the first time, who's interacted, no matter where your opinion is on it. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself. Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. Again, we will be live tomorrow. We will be live this week with draft talk in regards of what changes, what will happen now that we have Sullivan as GM and possibly Hafley as head coach. That's all going to go down here on FTSN, continuing Dolphins coverage. Shout out to our friends, fellow Dolphin content creators, guys. If you love Dolphins, following Dolphins content, go check out Fins TV with Fin Sammy. Check out the Fins Faithful podcast with George and Jason Sarney. Miss Fins, go check them all out. Great people there. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anybody, but it is the end of night. But until then, guys, that's Brett Lagasse. That's Finstanza. I'm Bobby Finstock. Like, subscribe, and most importantly, as always, Dolphin fans, no matter how you feel, not the potential coach, fins up.